Introduction, a question that changes everything. Have you ever caught yourself waiting? Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for more money. Waiting for someone else's approval. Waiting for life to somehow become easier before you finally start living the way you dream of. I once met a man who lived his whole life waiting. He said to me, "One day, when things calm down, I'll finally take my kids to see the ocean." He worked for 30 years, saving, planning, pushing his dreams aside. But life had other plans. By the time he was ready, his children were grown, his health was fading, and that, one day, never came. Friends, that story broke my heart. Because I realized, it's not just his story. It's ours. Too many of us are living in tomorrow while today slips quietly through our fingers. That's why I'm here to tell you, stop waiting. Start living. Today. Part 1, The Trap of Tomorrow. We live in a world that constantly whispers in our ears. Later. Tomorrow. Someday. Someday, when I have more money, I'll give back to the poor. Someday, when I have more time, I'll write that book. Someday, when I'm stronger, I'll speak my truth. Someday, when I feel ready, I'll chase my dream. But here's the brutal reality, someday is a thief. It robs us of our today. I remember a young woman I met at a community center. Her name was Emily. She always dreamed of painting. She had the soul of an artist, but her life was filled with chores, jobs, responsibilities. She said to me, "One day, when the kids are older, I'll finally start painting again." Years later, I returned to that town. I asked about Emily. Someone whispered, "She passed away last year, she never got the chance." Her story shook me. Because it reminded me of something I once read, the wealthiest place on earth is not the diamond mines or oil fields, it's the graveyard. Because buried there are dreams never lived, books never written, songs never sung, inventions never shared. Friends, life is not a rehearsal. This is it. This moment, right now, is all we truly have. Part 2, The Power of Small Acts. When we talk about living fully, people often imagine something huge, climbing Mount Everest, quitting your job overnight, moving to Paris. But living doesn't always mean dramatic leaps. Sometimes, it's about small acts of courage and kindness. Let me tell you about a man named Robert. He worked as a janitor in a school. Every day, he swept the floors, emptied the trash, and polished the hallways. To most people, he was invisible. But Robert had a secret, he never let a day go by without encouraging at least one student. One afternoon, he saw a boy sitting alone in the cafeteria, tears in his eyes. Robert sat beside him and said, "Hey, I see you. You matter." That boy later confessed those words saved his life, he had been planning to end it that night. Think about that. A man with no fame, no fortune, no fancy title, simply choosing to live fully in the moment, by being present, by being kind, transformed another person's future. Living today doesn't require waiting until you're rich or perfect. It means asking, what can I do with what I have, right here, right now, to bring life into this moment? Part 3, When Life Shakes You Awake. Sometimes, life itself shakes us out of our waiting. A woman named Linda once shared her story with me. She was a corporate executive, always busy, always rushing, always saying, "Once I get promoted, then I'll spend more time with my family." But then, one winter morning, she was in a car accident. In that moment, when everything went black, she thought of one thing, not her money, not her career, but her daughter's laughter. She survived. And she made a decision, no more waiting. She quit her high-paying but soul-crushing job and started a small bakery with her daughter. She said, "For the first time in my life, I feel alive." Why do we wait for tragedy to remind us of what matters? Why do we need a diagnosis, an accident, or heartbreak to finally wake us up? I'm here to tell you, you don't have to wait for life to shake you. You can choose today. Part 4, The Unexpected Hero. Let me take you to a story from a small town in America. There was a homeless man named James. People walked past him every day, some tossing him a coin, most pretending not to see him. But one cold night, James saw a stray dog shivering in the alley. He had almost nothing, an old blanket and a piece of bread. And yet, without hesitation, he wrapped the blanket around the dog and gave it the bread. A passerby saw this and filmed it. That video went viral. Donations poured in. But more importantly, people began to see James, not as a beggar, but as a man with a heart bigger than his circumstances. Eventually, a local shelter offered him a job. Slowly, he rebuilt his life. All because in one moment, when no one was watching, he chose to live fully, with compassion. Friends, that's the power of humanity. That's the miracle of today. Part 5, The Emotional Climax. Now, let me ask you something. What if today was your last day? Would you regret the risks you didn't take? The words of love you didn't say? The people you didn't forgive? The life you kept postponing for tomorrow? Imagine standing at the edge of life, looking back, realizing you had the power all along to live, to love, to create, to give, but you spent it waiting. That thought terrifies me. But it also sets me free. Because if we can face that truth today, we can change everything. Let me share one last story. There was a nurse named Clara who worked in a hospice. She spent years listening to people's final words. She said the most common regret was not what they did, but what they didn't do. Not the mistakes, but the waiting. One patient, a man in his 80s, whispered with tears in his eyes, "I wish I hadn't waited so long to tell my wife how much she meant to me. Now she's gone." Those words haunt me. But they also remind me, we have today. We have right now. Part 6, The Transformation. So, what does it mean to stop waiting and start living? It doesn't mean throwing away responsibility. It doesn't mean chasing reckless thrills. It means choosing presence over postponement. It means calling your mother and telling her you love her. It means forgiving that friend before it's too late. It means writing the first page of that book instead of waiting for the perfect idea. It means smiling at a stranger, helping someone in need, taking your child to the park, even if the dishes aren't done. Living is not about someday. It's about this day. Conclusion, a call to action. So, my friends, I stand before you with this truth: the future is not promised. Yesterday is already gone. All we have is today. Don't wait until you have more. Don't wait until you're ready. Don't wait for permission. Because the only permission you need, to live, to love, to give, to shine, is the one you give yourself. So take that step. Make that call. Hug that child. Forgive that person. Write that dream. Share that kindness. Life is not waiting for you in the future. Life is happening now. So I ask you, when will you start living? The answer is not someday. The answer is today. Stop waiting. Start living. And when you do, the world will never be the same.